Hey guys, and welcome. My name is Amanda. For those of you that are new to the channel, for those of you who've been here before, welcome back again into Friends and Family G'day. I'm going to try to stay on track this time because I've had to do this introduction and the beginning of this video about 6 times already because I keep getting distracted. Alrighty, so today we are going to get busy meal prepping on a little budget. So the bread's already been baked for today. That's the first job out of the way every morning or every other morning. So it's ready to go. This is made in the Pullman tin without the lid on. So this is what happens when you don't put a lid on. You still end up with your dome top lid bread. All right, that one's just going to get put aside into the kitchen, and then I'm going to start on our pasta. Yeah, all right. So obviously I got my dough machine earlier in the week, and so that's been getting a good workout, and I'm liking it. And I have been stopping the machine when it stops, when it's made its dough. I have been removing the dough hook, and I've been taking the dough out. I've been oiling the bowl, and then I've put my flour and dough mix back in and letting it ferment heat proof in the heat setting for it, and that seems to be working a lot easier for the cleanup as well. So that's how I've been doing using that dough machine, and it's now on its 4th use. Alright, so my eggs weigh 50 grams, and I just top up the water, beat it together, put the lot together, shove it in the machine, and press a button. That's it. You know, I'm not doing anything special here. I'm just making pasta, and I've just got a machine. Alrighty, turning on this guy. Now, the thing about this machine, once it starts, you know, you're making pasta pretty quickly. So it's 3 minutes of kneading, and then it starts to extrude the pasta. So I will get distracted making pasta for a little bit, and so I don't have time to then go and prepare any ingredients for the sauce. But I have got the milk ready. Before I get ears hear me, I've made up powdered milk to make the sauce this time, and I'm not telling anybody, and I want to see whether or not anyone notices that I'm using powdered milk. They don't mind when I do it with the Alfredo in the jar pasta mix that took me months to prepare all of the ingredients to create it. So I had to buy a bunch of ingredients to make an Alfredo mix, because I mean, they were having that anyway. They were just having packet Alfredo, which has got dehydrated milk in it. So I figured, let's just make our own. And when I've made that, they're all fine with it. But to make a pasta meal from scratch using powdered milk, we'll see. So I've already blended up the powdered milk with hot water and put it in the refrigerator with some cold water added to it as well to chill it. And I need to make the sauce before anybody sees that vessel. If they see that, they'll know that I've made up powdered milk. So I've got to get onto the cheese sauce. So let's get this pasta in and started. So I simply set the automatic setting and just start the machine. For 3 minutes it's going to start to knead the dough, which is the pasta. Needs some liquid, so there's a grate on the top of this machine, and you just simply pour it. Nothing else goes in except this 90 mils. I've weighed the flour, 250 grams. The recipe says a cup. If I use a measuring cup, it's always a different amount. And so when I did that with the measuring cup this time, even though it was pretty heaped, it was only 175 grams. It wasn't even 250. So that's why I always weigh when I'm using these machines. This guy's about 5 years old. I don't use it that often, haven't used it. But because we're coming into doing the pantry challenge, I thought it was a good idea that I get it out and start putting it to use again, and start to refine some of the ingredients and the recipes that I've had some problems with in the past. And this is one of them, this particular pasta, which is a pinasta, because it's all very fine and finicky. I don't particularly love cleaning this one. Makes the pasta fine. I'm good with the fettuccine and I'm good with the spaghetti. This one is the one that I've not liked particularly making. So having the right machines makes your life so much simpler and more enjoyable, because you want to enjoy being on a homestead. So for me, it's having lots of gadgets, and I have lots of gadgets, but I like gadgets that can be used for more than one thing. So like that. Just pause the machine. And we will just let it do its thing. Okay, there's our pasta. So that is 2 cups of flour and 2 eggs. I'm just going to leave my pasta sit there for a minute. It's fine. I've got the water on to boil, but it's not at boiling temp yet, so I will prepare the next lot of dough. Simple. Right, let's make the fettuccine. So I've got my flour in. Once again, I'll just set the machine to automatic and just start it. Done. So I still need to do some of the Costco shopping, and that includes all-purpose flour, which I don't use a lot of. I normally use bread flour for pretty much everything, but because I will be making pasta, I will have to get some all-purpose flour to reserve for that. So I'm not using my bread flour for it. It's too heavy protein. So I'll go and cook off this. So this is our fresh pasta that's just been made. So this is 2 cups worth, 500 grams odd. Let's cook this one off. Alrighty, here's the fettuccine coming out. Samples. Cut them as short or long as you like. So I'm just going to let them cascade down, and then I'll chop them into 20-30 centimetre lengths. Dust them with some flour and just let them be. So spaghetti, that reminds me about the pasta cooking as well. So I've just got to be mindful of that. Doing 2 things at once. Trying to cook pasta while you're making pasta is probably not the smartest thing. But at least these are longer lengths, so I can move away and I can pause the machine. All good. What's on the stove? Still got another minute or maybe minute. So you just want to dust them with some flour just to make sure they're easy to keep separate. Otherwise, of course, they just all come up together and form a great big ball. I'll go and get the fresh pasta out off the stove. That's cooked. By then, that next piece will be ready. So that's our first pasta that's been cooked, ready. All we're going to do now is add our sauce, which I'll make in a moment. I'm just going to cook off the fettuccine as well. This has just been cooked in water with some salt and some avocado oil. Tastes yum. Alright, so I'll pop this one aside. That's my first pasta dish done. Well, at least making the pasta anyway. And very simply, there's our fettuccine. All been cooked and washed. So I'm going to be making a different sauce for this one. So into the refrigerator. This one can go for now while I'm making up the sauces. Alrighty, I'm going to start off with the first sauce, which will be for the penne. So I've got 80 grams of freshly made homemade butter. This is just made with pure cream, nothing else. So, whoopsie, we need to melt that, obviously. Once the butter's melted, I'll add 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I'm going to make the roux first. So it's about 60 grams of flour going to get added to this. So because I've used fresh homemade butter, it's starting to brown already, which I don't really want it to do. Add a little bit of flavour, but I don't particularly need it to brown. So I'm just going to add my flour and continue to melt that butter down. We'll just cook off that flour for a minute before we start adding other liquids and flavours as well. So I've got the milk in the fridge. I'll get that out. So I've made up 1.5 litres of what was powdered milk, and I also have some cream as well. So I need to add 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. Do that now before I add anything else, just so that it imparts a good amount of seasoning as it cooks off. At the same time, first the garlic and the onion powder goes in. Also some white pepper, 1/2 teaspoon. Don't want to overpower it. This is ground up fresh white pepper, so it's pretty strong. That was 1/2 teaspoon. I'm going to add my ham. This is 200 grams of ham. I picked this up at the Hands outlet. I'm going to change utensils. The Hands outlet, and it was $5.99 a kilo. So we're going to keep a tally of how much these ingredients cost for a total amount to feed your family of 6 at the end. Is the aim. I'll easily be able to meal prep this into 6 servings. Just getting the milk. As that's cooking down, I'll just add some liquid before it all burns. Once there's no more lumps, then I'll just keep adding more liquid. This is the worst jug to be using. I'm going to add about 700 mils in total, which is half of this jug. Leaves me with 700 mils left for the next one as well. And this was a milk powder that's being made up. It's full cream milk powder, and it's Devondale brand. Thickened cream. What do you weigh? About half a tub. Well, a bit over half a tub, so it's about 200 mils. So while that's warming through, I'll add some more flavours. I've got a garlic and herb parmesan container, 100 grams. Although it's parmesan, so people might be interested. I usually put about 20 to 40 grams. Equals about 2 tablespoons. Yeah, 2 tablespoons is 21 grams. So I'll add 21 grams of the herb and garlic parmesan cheese as well. It just stays in the fridge. And then I have some bigger cheese. Now, because I'm starting to add cheeses to this thickening sauce, what I'll do is I'll add the cream now. So this is 200 mils. It starts to come to a simmer is when I'll turn off the heat because I don't want any of the cheese catching and burning on the bottom. Cheese. Cheddar. I'll just use what's already out and hasn't been sealed yet. So 110 grams. So that's our cheddar going in. 850 of mozzarella getting added as well. In goes the mozzarella. Once the cheeses have melted, this is normally when I would then get him to come out and do a taste. Also gives me a chance to see how thick the sauce has become. If it's too thick, I can add extra milk. It shouldn't be. Like I said, there's no extra salt being added and only a little bit of pepper and onion and garlic. I've got some fresh parsley as well that's being dehydrated from the garden. I'm going to add some of that, just a couple of pinches. You can purchase popcorn salt and get different flavoured nacho, cheddar or cheese and chives are the 3 that I've got, as well as bacon. I'm not going to add bacon, but you can cheese and chives. Okay, if you just want to add a little bit of flavour, and like I said, I am trying to disguise the powdered milk, so I'm just going to add a bit of a sprinkle of that as well. Yes, I could go out to the garden and get fresh chives, and I do have dehydrated cheese powder as well, but you know, I'm just giving people options, and inexpensive options. The dehydrated fresh cheese powder, cheddar cheese powder, not the cheapest ingredient, but it goes a long way. Doesn't require refrigeration, is easy to store in the sealed jar, and I can add it to pasta sauces whenever I want to enhance the flavour of the cheddar that I've used if it's not strong enough. All that mozzarella is melting. That stringiness. I'll get my son to come out and taste this. Okay, he says do not do anything else to it. So we're just going to add pasta. That's it. So this is the penne style pasta that's freshly made. You can just use packet pasta. That's quite all right. And I'm just going to add this, which was 500 grams of pasta made up. So 500 grams of flour and 2 eggs. That's what's in this bowl. It's been cooked. It's been washed so that it doesn't all glue together. It's been refrigerated. And now I'm just going to add it to this sauce. So you can make the pasta ahead of time, and you can make the sauce ahead of time, and then just reheat your sauce and add your pasta all together. Like I said, we are meal prepping today. So this is his macaroni and cheese with bacon, carbonara, I don't know. It's just his creamy, cheesy pasta. These will be meal prepped. I think, looking at this, I could stretch this to 10 because it is getting a chicken schnitzel with it, a crumb chicken schnitzel as well. So, or it can be on its own. But I'm cooking up the crumb chicken to go with this one. And they were from the Ingham's outlet, so they were not expensive. I think from memory they were $25 for a 3 kilo box. So I've got some of those chicken schnitzels, the devil chickens, they're called, and they make chicken breasts. Anyway, that's done. I do need to put that into individual meal prep containers so I know how many chickens to cook up. Containers, the same ones that I've shown you in the past. I'll put a description and the link in the description of them, and I'll just meal prep and see how many of these I get, because this is a side dish and I can easily, I'm just going to say 2 scoops. It's ample. I could bulk this up again by adding mixed vegetables to it. So these are the deviled chicken breasts. They need to be cooked off because I haven't back sealed these and they're starting to ice up. I have 3 here and I have 5 here, so I've got exactly enough into the oven. They can go for half an hour and then I can add them to these trays. I'll just get some lids on these. So ordinarily when I do costing of what it is that I'm making, I take into account that people will not be purchasing at places such as Costco or the food outlets. So I usually calculate what it would cost people to purchase the ingredients and then to make the meals. I'm going to do that this time, but I'm also going to do what this has cost me to make the same meal by shopping the way that I shop and from making the items from scratch. Okay, I know not everyone's going to have chickens to have the eggs to make the pasta. Okay, so I will take that into account and put the 2 prices separately. We have 8 servings of this pasta dish, and we've got the devil chicken. The devil chicken, you could buy chicken schnitzels. It doesn't necessarily have to be devil chicken. Now, the thing about the devil chicken also, again, making sure that certain people can't hear me, is just because I'm cooking a whole devil chicken fillet doesn't mean each one of these will get a whole devil chicken fillet. I can easily chop those fillets up, which I do normally, and actually not put a full one in each one. And that way I might need 6 to do 8 meals instead. Because those patties are pretty big. You know, they've already got enough protein as well in this, in the pasta, as well as in the bacon, or the ham in this case, the cheese, the milk, the cream, they've got protein. So on top of that, another big 80-gram slice of schnitzel. It is more than what's needed. So if I really want to cut down how much I put into these containers, I can reduce that 8 schnitzels down to 6. Am I going to do that this time? Yeah, I am actually. Although I am cooking 8 schnitzels, it's not the only meal that I'm making. I'm also making a pizza later, so I'm going to reserve 2 of those schnitzels. So I'm only going to put 6 schnitzels in here. Aren't I mean? Okay, well, we'll see what that looks like though. Okay, our chicken is out of the oven. That's my 8 schnitzels. I'm going to take away 2, and I'm only going to work on 6 of these. Just going to chop it up, divide it into 8. And then pop them into the meal trays. It's not difficult. Save some money. We can do this. Like I said, nobody notices the difference between a 65-gram piece of chicken that's been chopped up or a 95 piece. It's 30 grams. Okay. Let's go. So all I'm doing, I've chopped up my chicken, and all I'm doing, I have a set of scales here, simple, and I'm just weighing up 70 to 75 grams. of chicken for each of them, so they are all getting exactly the same quantities. Okay, that way there's no difference. Okay, so nobody's going to argue about that. I don't even need the bowl. All right, so just zero that off. Okay, done. And I just keep going. So you want to know how much these guys weigh? 280 grams, thereabouts. And no, I didn't weigh any of the pastas out. Alrighty, we are done. Have 8 meals, all the same. Pasta with the chicken. All got the same amount of chicken. I've weighed out the chicken, so they've all got the same. But let's have a look at them. So other than the chicken, obviously I didn't make the chicken. I've purchased the chicken at an outlet. But the pasta's all been made from scratch. And there are the 2 leftover patties, just proving that I've only used 6. And there's my 2 still to go in the refrigerator because these are going to go on top of the pizza. Alright guys, let's finish this video off. Shopping myself the way that I do at Costco and at factory outlets. The total amount for our meals have come down to $12.25 or $1.53 per serve. If you go to the duopoly and you purchase dry pasta and you don't need to use eggs, your same meals are going to be $22.50. If you go with fresh pasta, it's going to be $28.72. Now, that is a astronomical difference. It's $16.50 for the fresh pasta, or it's a good $10 plus for using dry pasta. So, cooking from scratch, using the same ingredients, the difference is where I do my shopping. So, huge way to save some money, and that's the reason I can keep our groceries way down and the family save money, which means, money goes back into doing other more important things like paying rates and bills, as well as doing some additional work around the property as needed. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'm sure that we will see each other soon. Time for the next lot of meal prepping.